Hello everyone, my name is Estelle and this is Vinyāsa Yoga. Thank you for joining me this evening and allowing me to take you through this practice. So some housekeeping things to start. Want to make sure that you have a mat, a towel, carpet, grass, whatever you can stand on and lay on that is comfortable for you and it'll allow your body to completely relax. As for our feet, you can have socks or be barefoot, again, whatever would allow you to be most comfortable and accept the movements that we're going to do today. So some things about this specific practice, we're going to focus a lot on breathing. So because I cannot see you, I'm going to follow my own breath, but please, please, please follow your breath. Do whatever your body feels most comfortable doing and follow the pace that makes the most sense to you. Some of the movements we're going to do today are going to require a lot of muscle. Some of the movements will hold for a little bit longer, so it might feel more intense. Again, do whatever your body will allow you to do. Do not follow me. So we're going to start with our first relaxation. So you can either be seated up tall, shoulders down and back, chest wide open, feet crossed. You can place your hands on your thigh. Or you can be completely laid down on your mat, back flat, legs fully extended, or feet flat, knees up towards the ceiling, like so. Wherever your relaxation is, you're going to take a nice, big, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to take this time to be present in this moment. Wherever your feet are, wherever your hands are, whatever is in contact with the mat, you're going to acknowledge that. You're going to feel the ground beneath you. Center yourself and be present in this moment. If you feel comfortable, feel free to close your eyes. I want you to take this time to check in with yourself. Feel your body. What hurts? What feels a little funky, what needs to stretch, and acknowledge that. Accept that, and let yourself work through that, through this practice. I want you to take this time to check in with yourself emotionally. Think about the things that have been weighing you down this week, this month, this summer, and leave it all at the door or wherever you may be. Be present in this moment. Whatever is going on does not matter now. Allow yourself to relax and let the practice guide you. Again, we're taking nice big breaths in through the nose, letting it out through the mouth. If you feel your mind starting to wander and not able to ground itself, place your hand, one hand on your chest, one hand on your stomach. And as you're taking those breaths, feel your chest and stomach rise and fall. Focus solely on that breath. Make sure you're not rushing this first relaxation. This is the most important. It will set us up for the rest of this class. So really try to focus on your breathing, quieting your mind, and relaxing your body. feeling your mat beneath you, whether it is underneath your bottom, your hands, or your feet. Get very familiar with your mat. If you are sitting up, I want you to take this time to rotate, extend those legs along your mat, and slowly roll the body down, placing our hands flat on our mat, letting our feet fall. On our next inhale, we're going to raise our right leg, place our hands behind that knee, behind our knee thigh. And we're going to pull that knee closer to our chest. With every exhale, we want to pull that knee a little bit closer. Just 2 more breaths here. On that final exhale, you're going to release that leg along our mat. Whenever we're ready, on that next inhale, we're going to raise that left leg, placing our hands behind our knee, pulling that knee into our chest. With every exhale, pulling that knee a little bit closer. Really sinking deep into the stretch, waking our hips up. Two more breaths here. On that next exhale, we're going to release that leg, fully extending it along our mat. Again, our palms are flat on our mat, fingers nice and wide, grounded. On our next inhale, we're going to pull our feet towards our bottom, lifting our knees up towards the ceiling. We want our feet roughly hip distance apart, nice and grounded. On our next exhale, we're going to raise those hips up towards the ceiling, squeezing those glutes at the top, holding. And on that exhale, slowly, one vertebrae at a time, bringing our hips back down to our mat. Again, we're following our own breath here. Exhaling as we pull our hips up, squeezing at the top, pausing for a moment, and bringing our hips down one vertebrae at a time. Just 2 more times, again, following your own breath. And on that final bridge, we're just going to bring those hips down, readjust if we need to, and take a moment here. Next, we're going to move on to our core. So we're going to bring our hands behind our head. We want our elbows down flat on the mat, our chin up towards the ceiling. We're going to do a small crunch up, exhaling as we're bringing the chest up, keeping that chin off your chest. Inhaling, slowly bringing our head back down to our mats. And again, we're exhaling, bringing the chest up, shoulder blades up off our mat, chin off our chest. And inhaling, bringing the head slowly back down to our mat. We just got 2 more here. bringing it up. Inhaling back down. Just 2 more. And on that final crunch, just going to release our arms, bringing them back down to our sides, palms flat on our mat. Taking a moment here. From here, we're going to drop our outside leg, whatever that means to you. We're going to flip over, dropping that top leg on top, bringing our hands down to our mat, and transitioning to all fours. We want our wrist right underneath our shoulders, our knees underneath our hips, and for this, we want our feet tucked. We're going to keep our gaze down, keeping our neck in line with our spine. We're just going to take a moment to let our body adjust to this new pose. From here, we're going to do some cat-cows. So on our next inhale, we're going to arch that back, tuck that chin into our chest, using our palms to push through our mat. And on that inhale, dropping our belly button down to our mat, lifting our chin up towards the ceiling in our cow. And again, inhaling, bringing that chin into our chest, arching that back, pressing through the palms of our hands. And inhaling that belly button down to our mat, chin up towards the ceiling. Just going to do about 5 of these. Remember, we're going at our own pace, following our breath. If it seems like your breath is really short and you're going through these moves rather quickly, that is absolutely fine. Do whatever your body is telling you and whatever feels right. If you ever get lost with the breathing and you're not sure when you should be inhaling and when you should be exhaling, again, listen to your body. It is a lot easier to exhale and inhale when you're doing the correct pose. So play around with it, play around with your breath, and figure out where you need to be. And on that final cat-cow, just going to return to neutral spine. Again, those wrists should be underneath those shoulders, those knees underneath those hips, toes tucked. Looking down at our mat, keeping a nice neutral spine. From here, we're going to go into some spinal balance. So we're going to extend opposite arm, opposite leg. So on our next inhale, we're going to raise and reach. We're flexing that foot, reaching with the heel, reaching with those fingertips. Again, keeping that gaze at neutral. You can do one of 2 things here. You can either just bring that hand and knee back down to our mat, reset and do the other side, or you can bring knee to elbow for some added core work, and then coming back down to all fours. I'm going to switch to the other side. We're inhaling up, really reaching, elongating that body through our fingertips and our heels. And again, we're either bringing knee to elbow for some added core work, or just placing our hand back down to our mat, knee back down to our mat underneath our hips and shoulders. Again, we're following our own breath here. With this added core work, you might feel your breath gets a little bit shaky, a little bit short. That is okay. Listen to your body. Just 3 more on each side. And when you're finished with that last one, you can go ahead and rest in either child's pose, a downward dog, whatever makes you feel most relaxed and would be a rest. If you are in that child's pose, pushing those hips back, extending those arms, bringing our head as close to our mat as we're comfortable. If we're in that downward dog, our fingers are nice and wide, bringing those hips up toward the ceiling, pushing those hips back, trying to get our head in between our arms, and trying to bring those heels down to the ground. Again, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And just take 3 breaths here. From here, we're going to move into our half series. Half series moves a little bit quickly, so we'll go on each breath. So again, following your own breath. On that inhale, we're bringing those hips forward. We're all starting from child's pose. Bringing those hips forward into a kneeling plank. Slowly dropping that chest all the way down to our mat. Tucking those toes, lifting up into a high plank. Pushing back into downward dog. Dropping those knees and coming down into child's pose. Again, we're inhaling. Exhale. Inhaling up. Exhale. And inhaling into child's pose. Just give me 2 more of these at your own pace. Coming into a kneeling plank, bringing the chest down, coming up into a full plank, pushing back into downward dog, and dropping those knees into child's pose. And when you're done, you can either rest in child's pose or your downward dog. From here, we're going to transition. So we're going to inhale, bringing those hips forward, tucking those toes into a downward dog. And let's back pedal here. Wake up the back of those legs. And just holding here. You can do one of 2 things here. You can jump those feet up towards your hand, or take one giant step forward and bringing that other leg. And staying here in our forward fold, letting our head and our hands feel heavy, hovering over those toes or reaching for those toes. We're going to inhale up, arms up above head. Hands to chest. And we're going to bring them down, palms facing forward. Feet roughly hip distance apart, shoulders down and back in our mountain pose. Feel free to close your eyes or open them. And we're going to take a moment to let our body adjust to being standing. You want to make sure that you're at the top of your mat. I am not, so that you can see me, but you want to make sure you're at the top of the mat because you're going to go into some lower body. So from here, if you're at the top of your mat, You're going to step back with that left leg. Feet are wider than hip distance apart. Our feet are at roughly a 45-degree angle. Want those toes pointed out. For your stance, you want your stance to be wide enough so that when you're bringing those hips down, those knees are not going past those toes. From here, we're going to inhale up, fingers spread apart, and we're going to bring those elbows into our hips while bringing our hips down to the ground for our moonflower. Inhaling those arms up, exhaling those arms down, opening up that chest, bringing those shoulders down and back. You want to pretend there's a wall in front and behind you, and you do not want to touch it. Again, we're going at our own pace here. The depth of the squat is up to you. Where your elbows go is up to you. If you want to go right here, that is perfectly fine. We just got 3 more. When you finish up that last one, we're going to transition into our sunflowers. Our legs are doing the exact same thing. We're bringing our hips down, but we're going to bring our hands in front of us as if we're serving a platter or presenting something to the universe. Keeping those palms up towards the ceiling, keeping those shoulders down and back. Inhaling those arms up, exhaling them down. Just 2 more. And when you're done, you're going to bring those feet together at the top of your mat. Feet hip distance apart, palms facing forward, shoulders down and back, eyes open or closed. We're just going to rest in our mountain pose. From here, we're going to inhale up. Exhale, swan dive into forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Inhaling up. And exhaling, sitting in our chair pose, where our hands can either be in prayer or up in tree. And coming back to mountain. Again, we're inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Inhaling up. Exhaling and sitting in our chair pose. And back to mountain. Last time, we're inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Inhaling up. And sitting in our chair pose. And back to mountain. From here, we're going to go into a forward lunge. So you're going to step back with that left leg straight behind us, toes both pointed towards the tops of our mat. When we're in this pose, we want to pretend that we're trying to close the space between our legs. So you really want to activate glutes, quads, and hamstrings. And we're going to raise those arms all the way up. If those shoulders start to feel it way sooner than you would like them to, you can always come down to prayer, or you can bring them behind you, whatever feels most comfortable. Again, we're inhaling in through the nose and out through the mouth. From here, we're going to turn those left toes away from the top of our mat, bringing our chest towards the side of our mat. We're going to bring those hands down to shoulder length. We're going to extend those fingertips. We're going to make sure our hips are in line with each other, our ankles are in line with each other, and we're going to take our gaze beyond our front fingers. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. From here, we're going to drop that front forearm onto our thigh. We're going to look up towards the ceiling and raise that left arm up. We want to keep this arm in line with our shoulder, in line with our hips. We don't want it falling forward or hyperextending it back. Just want to extend naturally. Again, if that shoulder starts to give out, feel free to bring that hand behind you. Again, keeping that shoulder and chest back and open. You can choose to stay here. If you would like to do something a little more challenging, just going to lift up that forearm, keeping that arm extended. Fully extend that front leg. We're going to bring this hand all the way down to our mats, keeping that chest open in our triangle pose. Again, the option to stay here is still there. Just 3 more breaths here. We're going to slowly come out of this position. If you did not bring your hand all the way down to the mat, just do not move. We're going to start by bending that front leg, lifting that hand down from our mat up onto our thigh. If our arm was fully extended, we're bringing that arm down. If it was not, we're just bringing it to the front. We're going to lift that forearm up, turn our toes and our chest towards the top of our mat, and drive that foot up. Feet hip distance apart, shoulders down and back, palms facing away, resting in our mountain pose. Again, eyes open or closed, it is up to you. So from here, we're going to step back with that right leg, toes both facing towards the top of our mat. Again, want to pretend we're trying to close the space between our legs, engaging our thighs and our glutes. And whenever you're ready, you're going to lift those arms up towards the ceiling or in prayer or behind you, wherever feels the most comfortable. I'm going to do prayer. Just 3 more breaths. From here, I'm going to turn those back toes away from the top of our mat. Chest is following. Keeping that front leg exactly where it is, making sure that our hips and ankles are in line with each other. We're just going to extend those arms the height of our shoulders. Fingertips extended, fingers wide. We're just going to gaze beyond our front fingers. Again, your arms can be out here, in prayer, or behind your back. Want to make sure that chest is open. Just 3 more breaths here. From here, we're going to drop that front forearm onto our thigh, letting our gaze go up towards the ceiling and extending those fingertips to follow. Again, we want to keep our chest open. We can either have our arm up towards the ceiling or behind our back. Again, making sure our ankles and hips are in line with each other. Just a few more breaths here. You can choose to stay here or follow me for something more advanced. I'm going to fully extend that front leg, bringing that hand all the way down towards our mat in our pyramid pose. Just a few more breaths. And when you're ready, we're going to come out of this slowly. So again, we're bending that front leg first, lifting that hand down from our mat up onto our thigh. If that hand was up towards the ceiling, you're bringing it down to the front. We're turning those toes and that chest towards the top of our mat, and we're driving that foot up, keeping our feet hip distance apart, shoulders down and back, palms facing forward, eyes open or closed in our mountain pose. From here, we're going to inhale up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees flat back. Exhale all the way down. We're going to step back with that left leg in a low lunge. Step back with that right into a high plank. We're going to bring that chest down to our mat. Flatten those feet to an upward dog. Bringing the chest down. Flipping those feet into downward dog. Driving that right foot up to our hands. Left to follow in our forward fold. Inhaling up and exhaling into our chair pose. And back to mountain. We're going to do that a few times slow. So we're inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees flat back. Exhale all the way down. Stepping back with that left foot into a low lunge. Stepping back with the right to a high plank. Bringing that chest down to our mat. Flattening those feet to an upward dog. Bringing the chest down. Switching those feet into a downward dog. Stepping up to those hands with that right. Then the left. Letting the body hang in our forward fold. Inhaling up. Exhaling into chair pose. Again, those hands can be in prayer or in tree. We have 2 more of those. Again, following our own breath. And last time, inhaling up, exhale, inhale, big exhale. And sitting in our chair pose. And standing in mountain. Again, palms facing forward. Feet hip distance apart. Shoulders down and back. Eyes open or closed. From here, we're going to raise our left arm up towards the ceiling and reach. We're not hyperextending over to the side, or not hyperextending, just extending. We're just reaching up with those fingertips straight from that shoulder. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. With every breath, try to get a little bit closer to the sky. Just 2 more breaths. And on that final exhale, we're going to bring that arm down. Switching to the right, inhaling the arm up and reach. Just 2 more breaths here. On that final exhale, we're bringing that arm down. Next, we're going to bring our hands behind our back, interlacing those fingers and just squeezing those shoulder blades together. If you would like, You can raise those arms as high, well, not as high, but as high as they will go, trying not to hurt those shoulders. Again, we're listening to our body, and the height of these arms does not matter. Keeping that chest open, grounded on our mat, trying to press into our mat with each of our toes, holding our hands together and breathing here. Two more breaths. And on that last exhale, releasing those hands. Again, palms forward, shoulders down and back, resting in our mountain pose. From here, we're going to go into our tree pose. So, starting with whatever leg makes you feel most comfortable, you're going to start by placing the heel on your ankle. You want to make sure that knee is in line with those hips, so you're pulling it back. And then as soon as you feel grounded in that standing leg, you're going to use your leg, not your arms, to either place your foot between your knee and your ankle or between your hip and your knee. Wherever your foot is does not matter, even if it stays right here. You just want to avoid using that arm to pull that foot up. You want our foot to naturally go wherever it feels. So with those arms, we can come here to prayer, come to our chest, or we can bring them up overhead in our tree pose. If you are feeling the most fancy, you can close your eyes for a balance challenge. Ooh. Again, we want to make sure we're pulling that knee back, keeping it in line with our hips. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. You want to avoid placing that foot on that knee bone because it will hurt and it will break, and that's not where it's supposed to be. We want that foot to be on our muscle. Just a few more breaths here. And on that final exhale, you're going to release that foot down to our mat and shake and roll out that grounded foot. And whenever you're ready, you're just going to place that heel on that ankle and regain your balance and control. Once you feel grounded, again, we're placing that foot either between our knee and our ankle on that calf muscle, or between our hip and our knee on that thigh muscle. If your legs don't go to the same height, that is okay. Just acknowledge that there is a difference. But avoid using that arm to grab that leg and drive it up. Again, those hands can be in prayer or up in tree. Just a few more breaths here. And when you're ready, on On that last exhale, release those arms, shake out that grounded foot, and take a rest in our mountain pose, shoulders down and back, palms facing forward, eyes open or closed. If you are not at the top of your mat, get there. What we're going to do here, inhaling up, exhale, swan dive into forward fold. We're going to drop our hips down, sit that butt on our mat, and extend those legs, sitting up nice and tall, legs fully extended on those sits bones, and palms down on our mat. From here, we're going to raise our right arm, placing it on the outside of our knee, a little bit above our knee. I like to grab right where we grabbed for that knee pull into chest. You're going to take that left arm going behind you for a spinal twist. Again, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just a few more breaths here. And on that final exhale, I'm going to bring that hand from behind us forward and release that hand on that knee and place both hands on our mat. Other side, we're going to lift that left arm, grabbing the outside of that knee, placing that right hand behind us for a spinal twist, and breathing here. Few more breaths. And on that final exhale, we're going to release that hand from behind us, bringing it forward, and releasing that hand from our thigh, placing both of our hands flat down on our mat. I'm going to try to squeeze 2 poses in before we go into our final relaxation. We're going to do with the butterfly. So from here, we're just going to put the bottoms of our feet together, and we're just going to pull our feet as close to our hips as we can. If you would like, you can grab onto those feet or those ankles and use those elbows to press down. You can use your hands to press down, whatever is most comfortable for you. Keeping that chest nice and open. Taking nice big breaths here. Just 2 more breaths. And on that final exhale, we're going to release those hands and plant those feet on our mat, knees up towards the ceiling. Then we're going to slowly roll the body down to our mat, head touching last. Yeah, we can keep our knees up towards the ceiling or fully extended, whatever is most comfortable for you. Just going to take a moment here. We're going to move into our happy baby pose. So on that next inhale, we're going to lift both of our legs up towards the ceiling, bringing our knees to our chest. And you can either hold on to your big toes, bringing the backs of your hands together and holding on to the inside of the foot, or from the inside of the foot, hands pushing against those knees, grabbing the outside of that foot, pulling those legs down into our hips in our happy baby. Again, that hand placement was grabbing the big toes, bringing the backs of the hands together and grabbing from the inside, pushing against the inside of our knee and grabbing the outside of that foot. Feel free to rock side to side in your happy baby. Really sink into those hips. This is my favorite pose, so feel free to really get in there. Just 2 more breaths. And whenever you're ready on that last exhale, you're going to release those hands on those feet, bringing those legs together and extending them along our mats. And I am the queen of saying 1 more, but then there's really 2 more. So we're going to do 1 more pose, just a bigger spinal twist here. So on that next inhale, we're going to raise our right leg, placing our left arm on the outside of that knee, bringing that knee down across that body and extending that arm, looking towards the back of our body. Really getting into this stretch. If you don't hear any cracking, you're probably not stretching enough. Just 3 more breaths here. And on that final exhale, release that hand on the leg, bringing the leg back, sliding it along our mat, and placing that hand back down by our side on our mat. Same exact thing on that left. So we're raising that left leg, bringing that right arm towards the outside of that knee, bringing that knee down across our body, extending that arm behind us and looking at those fingertips. Just 3 more breaths here. And on that final exhale, we're going to release that hand on our knee, bringing that leg back to our mats, extending it along our mat, and bringing that arm back down to our side. We're going to move into our final relaxation. You can do whatever you would like. If you would like to lay down on your mat, legs fully extended, palms down. If you want your feet planted, knees up towards the ceiling. Or if you would like to be seated up, legs crossed, hands on the thigh. It is up to you. We're going to take this time to let our body really feel everything that we've just done. Recognize the differences from when we initially started the class. And just enjoy these last few moments where we're allowed to shut out the world, all of our pain, both emotionally and physically, and enjoy being grounded. Whenever you're ready, depending on where you are, you're just going to roll over to your side. If you are sitting up, feel free to stay seated. If your legs are fully extended, just roll over. If your knees are up toward the ceiling, drop one leg, put the other on top, and place one arm on the mat. And you can either place the arm straight down, you can put it up by your head as if it is a pillow. Just a few more breaths here. And whenever you're ready, do not rush this. Slowly make your way up to seated position. Shoulders down and back, hands either on your thighs or on your mat, eyes closed. I want to thank you all for spending this time with me. I hope you feel rejuvenated. Hope you feel ready for dinner or whatever you're doing this lovely evening. I hope that you spread all this positive energy that you now have in your body to everyone that you meet for the rest of this week, not just for today. And I hope that you all tune in again next Wednesday. I do not say namaste at the end of my class because it means hello. So I say see you later in Hindu, which is Mali Kaludam. Say whatever makes you feel better. But I'm going to say Mali Kaludam. So Mali Kaludam to all of you. And thank you for taking my class. Have a good evening, Gators.